Hello, good morning and welcome to New Forest Morphs. And normally we do a daily blog, but we've had power cuts here in the New Forest in the UK, and we're running on no power at the moment. You could probably hear my generator in the background. That's Jad and I had to get up really early this morning. I think it was 5 o'clock in the morning when we lost power. And we've all been busy trying to get the ambient temperature up because it's really bitterly cold, icy conditions. It was snowing here in the forest. It very rarely happens because we live near the beach, and I'm just doing this self-filming just to give you an update as to how we're coping with these extreme conditions. And I know that in Texas last year a lot of our friends lost their snakes to extreme temperatures. They didn't have generators, and that's what prompted me to get one. But I'm so glad we've got one because this is the second power cut we've had in less than 4 weeks, and thank goodness we've got it. But what I've noticed is because it's even colder, we've had to put in 2 oil heaters in here to try and keep the ambient temperature up, because we tried it with one and it was dropping down quite low to about 71, 72 ambient temperature, and the heat mats have been amazingly slowly dropping off, but the snakes have been sat on them to kind of maintain them. I've checked the temps and they're all doing fine. There's no major issues. So the key is to kind of keep the temperature in here in the facility. Now what you'll see in here is we've insulated this facility when we built it really well, so it will keep temperatures in here even when you lose power. I think last time we had the issue we only lost 3 degrees in 3 hours of temperature, but now because it's much more extremely cold, the temperature drop can be very quick and very sudden, so you need to be on it. So what we've done is Jad and I have set up, I'll show you the setup in a second, but there's some things to bear in mind when you end up with a situation like this. Not to panic, but to just keep a cool head. If you haven't got a generator, try to find a friend that's got one, but I would say don't wait for this to happen. Get yourselves a generator. Now the one I've bought is an IPAX 1800 watt inverter generator, and I'll just show you what that looks like here. They were £200, $300, and they're easy to start, petrol driven. Make sure you've got some petrol as well, because we ran out of petrol a little while ago and went to go and get some petrol. So it's all about the 6 P's. Get ready, get prepared if you're living in extremely cold climates here. So we've managed to get the generator going. The generator has an economy mode as well, so once the heaters are up to maximum temperature, they'll kick into economy and the fuel will be a slow burn. But you'll find for the initial setup it's really quite heavy and it's a big burn. I will show you the setup, but there's some things to bear in mind in terms of not panicking. Obviously phone up your electricity company and let them know you've lost power as soon as you can, because the sooner you make that call, the sooner the engineers can get in. In the forest, because we live with so many oak trees, this is becoming a common occurrence and we lose power on a regular basis. So what's been happening here is that the electricity board have to send their engineers in, and it takes them nearly 6 to 12 hours to fix this problem, and in that time you can end up with a massive drop in temperature. So having the generator is so key for us, and they will eventually get the power back on. But in the meantime you have to have a makeshift safety backup measure, which we've got. Jared was telling me that many years ago when he was first keeping his ball pythons, when we had a power cut in the house, he studied some of the precautions to take, and he said to me, "Dad, don't open the drawers and do not let any heat out. Don't move your snakes even unless they're extremely cold and you can move them into a warmer environment. So if you've got another heat source somewhere and you need to keep those snakes warm, then obviously move them if it's getting dangerously down low." But I mean, a snake can survive between 75 and 85 for several hours without having a major issue. When it stops dropping below 75, that's when you start to get a little bit concerned, particularly for long periods of time. But it's that sudden swing of change that can also do damage. But the key is not to stress them out even more by actually messing with them during this period. The key is to let them go into their semi-hibernation mode. And I mean, ball pythons don't hibernate because they're in warm climates, but when they experience these extreme conditions due to power cuts, then I'm pretty certain they go into semi-hibernation mode. So you don't want to be disturbing them any further, because it could end up stressing them out even more. I think that's what Jared would explain to me. I'm no expert on this, but this is Jared's feedback to me. So what I've done is I've left all the snakes in situ, and I've got a second heater in here. So we've got 2 oil heaters, and I'll just show you my setup now, and just to give you an idea of what we are doing here. So just bear with me a second. So here we have 2 oil heaters. I've gone for the oil because once they're up to heat, up to temperature, it's very easy to maintain them with small amounts of electricity. And what we've done is we've checked the 18 watts, checked the wattage on your generator, because each of these has a maximum of 1500 watts each, which is 3000, and we didn't realise that. When we put them full on, we actually lost the power on the generator. The switch switched off. So what we've realised is you heat up one first. It's got two controls here, and each of those represents 750 watts. So we've got this running at a maximum of 750, and we've got that one running at a maximum of 750. So what it does, it gives us 1500 watts, which is 300 watts below the safe limit on the generator, and that will heat up the hatchlings, keep the females warm. This side will heat up our adult males and our adult females on both sides, and what it will do, it will create extra ambient temperature. The other thing we've done is we've closed all the windows, we've closed all the seals around the windows, and eventually we will shut the blinds down to reduce the stress on the snakes, so they'll end up having a much more quiet, well not quiet, but it'll be much more less stress with less light coming in. I've only just done it temporarily just to show you the setup. There's the other Dimplex oil heater we've got. These are about, I think they're about 60-70 pounds each. They're not very expensive, so it's well worth getting them. So we've got an extension lead coming off the generator outside into here, and we've got a double plug socket here feeding off both of those. And I will show you outside and show you our setup. And we've actually had to go through the window here, and we've actually got a draft excluder, which is a towel to stop the draft coming in. We've also got a towel on here to stop the draft coming in the door. The more you can do to insulate, the better when you get these extreme conditions. But there you can see that's the setup that we've got. Two heaters spread over where the snakes are is what we've got, and we'll see where the temperatures are going. I'll come up and just measure how the temps are doing. Let me just take you outside and show you the generator working. It's a makeshift setup. I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get it done. Let me just show you what we've got. Now the key is not to keep on opening the door as well, because it lets in cold, but I can feel it's a lot warmer in here, which is really good news. So the other thing to watch out for is, besides blocking out the cold, obviously a petrol generator will give fumes. You want fumes coming in here to fume out your snakes, so you've got to also consider that. And you can see how windy it is here as well by just looking outside. It's been very stormy. Most of the leaves have come off the trees now, and as I say, we had slate and we had snow even, which is very unusual in the forest. So what we'll do now is get our temperature gun and just measure and see how these snakes are doing. We won't open the rubs, but we'll just check the ambient temperature, and it will climb back up to about 85, but it'll be a slow steady climb. Let's see the outside of the rubs. So what we've got here is we've got 75, I don't know if you can see that, 75, 75, 75, 74, 74. So these two are 1 degree down, because obviously being at the top they're being exposed to more cold air. The ceiling is 73, the floor, depending on where I go, 72. That wall will be most exposed, 71, that wall, because that's where the wind is hitting the outside wall, and that will be incredibly cold near the door, 66. So that's where the cold end is. So having the heaters near the snakes, it acts as a shield for them. Let's just see how these are doing. 75, 75, 74, 75. So what we've done is we've taken, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we took the snakes off the bottom here, because the bottom is showing 71, and that's mainly because the floor doesn't conduct it. There's more cold coming through the floor, so there's no snakes in the bottom rubs, which is, I'm glad that we did that. But if you look above there, we've got 73, 74, 75, so you're getting a much better temperature as you move up. There is fluctuation there, but I think as these heaters come up, it will actually become much better for the snakes. So let's just see how we're doing on this side. So this side's 75, that side's 74, 75, 74, 75. Okay, let's check this side. Just checking to make sure there's heat. So this side is 73, 73, 73, and that's because it's near the window, you see. So there's a bit of a draft coming off that window there. So what I might have to do is insulate this panel here to give the snakes some extra insulation. So you could put some insulation material down there, but it's within a degree or two. Let's check, make sure we're okay. We're okay there. Good. Okay, so I think that's about it. It's a short video, as you can appreciate. I haven't got the Wi-Fi working, so we're not going to be able to upload this probably until tonight or tomorrow. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I think we're going to get through this little mini crisis. You know, when you invest so much time, love and attention in your snakes and you get these issues that hit you, this is part of the hobby, but you've just got to be real. If you're living in a cold climate, you've really got to prepare yourself. I was going to say go check out Tish at Python Spawn. She's got a lovely video on preparing for the winter, and she was suggesting other things like putting in bedding, extra bedding, going in for cocoa husk to help with her humidity. She gets a drop in humidity. Now, talking of humidity, now remember we were using the fogger to generate humidity in here, and we were generating about 60% humidity. Now with no electricity, you've also got a humidity issue to consider, and I'll just show you what our humidity is here now. I'll show you how you can see it's not working at the moment. There's nothing coming out of there, but we have got 40% humidity, which is not ideal. You can see it's running at 40 up there. So as soon as we get electricity back on, we should be able to get the humidity back up. But there are some things that we can do to improve the humidity while the power's down. I mean, what you can do is, obviously you don't want to be opening and closing drawers all the time, but there is a way of actually you can actually generate some warm water. So we could use the generator to boil a kettle, we could warm up some water, and we could use warmer water to help the humidity. But the problem is, unless you've got good ambient heat, if you put warm water tissue into the rubs to help them with their humidity, within a couple of hours that will cool down, and that could be a problem. So that's one thing that we've really got to try and work out. Hopefully this is not a long-term issue. We can get the humidity back on pretty quickly. I don't think a day of low humidity is going to upset them, but I do think that we want to get that humidity back on as soon as we can. The other blessing we had, and this is why you didn't get a video on Friday, is Jared went to a family wedding, and he was out for the whole day, and we would normally feed our snakes on Friday, but he came in today and said, "Dad, that was such a blessing that we didn't, because snakes need extra heat, or belly heat, to digest their food." So all of our snakes are empty, thank goodness. So that'll be less stress for them, not worrying about food they've got to digest, because there's no food in them, thank goodness. And I'm so glad that we delayed feeding them while Jared was on that wedding outing. So not that you can plan these things. If you do have a situation where you fed your animals and they need belly heat and you lose power, then the generator itself, if you can get your I mean, if you go for a more powerful generator, you'll be able to have all your heat mats working as well. But we went for one within our budget, which only gives us 1800 watts. And what we thought we'd do is, by putting the ambient temperature in the room and heating the room, everyone gets the blessing of that, and you can't select which snakes get them and which don't. It'd be a bit unfair to be selective. So either we have to upgrade the power of our generator, which we might do, and I'm seriously thinking about getting one for the house as well, because my business can't function and I can't get on the Wi-Fi. Luckily my phone is working and it was charged before the power went off, so I've got some power on that. But yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle. It's not the usual weekend that I look forward to, but we're getting there, and we're just grateful for your love and support, and thank you for supporting us through the channel. Thank you for our new subscribers. Hopefully we'll get power back restored and we can give you an update on how all the snakes are doing. But at the moment they all look fine, there's no issues, and hopefully we'll be able to get on top of the ambient temperature and get that up to 85 in the next couple of hours. So thanks for watching, and we shall catch you hopefully tomorrow. Bye bye for now.